Let's get on to something that we really didn't talk about. The New York blackouts.
Wow, that was an interesting time. I forget it was 70 something or something, but the whole city went black, and you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and literally, it was terrifying. You don't realize how important lights are until you don't have any throughout the whole city, and it was just chaos and utter confusion. I was a youngster and I seen dope fiends busting in places. I heard gunshots all night, fires. It was wicked, man, but it was a good experience, And by me having that experience, I guess it prepped me for the 1992 uprising, which was quite phenomenal in its own way, contingent upon the fact, like one of the things I seen during the 1992 uprising outside of law enforcement breaking up the truce was they used to ride around and like arrest people, and then they would zip tie you in a group and then write their badge numbers on your wrist right here, and then come back and scoop you up. And it sounded like something out of the civil rights movement, but that's exactly what happened during the 1992 uprising, aka the riot.
Which was the Rodney King verdict.
It was Rodney King, but the tipping point was Latasha Harlins. That's the part that boiled it, that got it ready for the big bang.
And was that the girl that died in the bus, the school bus?
No, sir, that was the girl that was killed by the Korean lady in the grocery store for allegedly stealing a bottle of orange juice. By the way, free football Williams from A-Trade Gangsters. That brother need to come home. He's been in there a long time for whatever circumstances it is. I'm just speaking on the one that I'm familiar with, and that's the situation with Reginald Denny, I believe it was, on Florence and Normandy, in which he tried to assault some black people with a truck, and consequently the game sent him a bill. Do I condone violence? Absolutely not. But that's just part of what happened in a chapter in the history of in time.
Hold on, I never heard that side of the story.
Oh yeah, God bless Miss Williams, football's mother. She, from the best of my knowledge, I believe she's still here. But she's a beautiful lady, man. And if you ever had a mother to stay down with you, it would be her, Mama Williams. Over there, she's a matriarch over there in that community, believe it or not. So shout out to her, Miss Williams, a revolutionary soldier. She stayed down with us from the gang truce, beyond and beyond, beyond. She was a frontline soldier, and I remember her clearly. So shout out to Mama Williams, moving.
Obviously they never showed the video. So word on the street. So how did he try to assault? Like, what did Reginald Denny? Like, how did he get? How did they pull him out?
Well, it is obvious because it was all on the news, the whole entire scene in which he tried to plow through a crowd of people that was protesting the verdict of something that had took place with Rodney King. And consequently, his car stalled a little bit, and you can't run a megaton truck, half a ton truck through a crowd of people and don't think that they're not going to get with your program. So that was on the air, and I believe the irony of it is that he was represented by, I believe, Mr. Johnny Cochran, great man, and then the lady that killed Latasha Harlins, rest in peace, she was represented by Mr. Johnny Cochran as well.
Reginald Denny was represented by Johnny
I
Cochran?
believe so, and the lady Miss Sun something or something that killed Latasha Harlins, our ancestor, Johnny Cochran represented them too.
The Asian lady?
Yes, sir. That's what the fuck I said. The Asian lady, podcaster, interviewer, the Asian lady. I know it's shocking, but, this is Wild Moguls, and we wild as a motherfucker over here. The Asian lady.
And who represented Natasha?
Us in the streets. I can remember once when the Ku Klux Klan was invited to the community, to South Central, and they tried to pull up to the market. I believe it was in the Hoover community, I believe. as a guest, as like some peace offering or something of that nature. And when I tell you, black brothers came from, Mexicans came from all over Los Angeles and conveyed on that store or that church, wherever they was gonna be. The word got out, man. It was unnecessary because I don't condone violence. I think they should have stayed in their own area per se because they have a right to believe what they want. So do we. But I don't think they'll try that no more.
Wow. Where was the first area of rioting? What was like the first like stores?
There was no rioting. That was an uprising.
Okay.
To call that a riot is disrespect. November 7th at the Capitol was a riot. This was an uprising. Most people at the Capitol were fighting for the American dream or whatever, their commonwealth like us all. But our struggle is a little different. So I can't pinpoint which store was broke into first because I think the word is irrelevant. That's not important. And then I would be falsifying. I know of some histories of what was alleged that had happened, but under the street code, certain things things understood need not be spoken. But there were some stores in various communities that were unfortunately broken into. But a lot of stores didn't get broke into because they had black owned on the window. So that was well respected, unlike the uprisings and the civil unrest that you see today. And a lot of the people that had black owned on the door, just like they had during the riots here with the Black Lives Matter, it was other people from other races just put that on their door to prevent from getting broke in. Then there was a Korean lady in Gardena on Rosecrans, and she had a liquor store. But she had always been cool with the people over there near, a little close to Crenshaw, kind of, near the swap meet in Gardena. Right on the corner is the swap meet, is in the middle of the block. She's on the corner. And that day she had customers. She wasn't in threat or nothing. Nobody broke in, nobody pulled a gun, nothing, because of the respect that they had for her. It's a lot of Korean Americans that live in Los Angeles, like the one that stay over had a hamburger stand off of 54 if they had a liquor store. When something happened to those people in these communities, you'd be surprised, man, at how the black people, and I can speak for them because they're the ones that were there, and others, respond. That's the first time when a Korean dude that owned a hamburger stand on Vernon, I believe it was, his son killed the father in the restaurant. Great burgers, they still there today. But that's the first time I've ever seen over 1,000 flowers in front of a place and candles.
Wow.
I think Nipsey's was the biggest. I've never seen a memorial as big as Nipsey Hussle's, and I lit the first candle for Nipsey Hussle's untimely demise, back to our ancestors. Oh, and for those who don't believe it, I have the video, so don't think that I'm just making this up. And I'll give it to you so you can put it in the description if you like.
Yes, I definitely would.
Yeah.
Love to put that. We see Nipsey behind you, man. He was a very interesting brother, man. I really do feel he was, I don't know, a COINTELPRO or something. But I think his demise was a lot deeper than some street shit for what he represented and what he could have represented.
So you got to remember, J. Edgar Hoover and his crew still looking for the Messiah. And anybody that can uplift or stimulate people, man, anything, like look at Charlie Kirk. He was trying to uplift his own people with his own language and what he was taught. Whether it was right or wrong, I'm not God. That's why I love that song by Tupac, man, Lord Knows. That song tell you the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? So I don't judge people. I have my own perspective, but I don't judge. But on the contrary, Nipsey Hussle was an extraordinary young man like Tupac, if not the reincarnation of Tupac in some versions. And most of the time, people like that already know that their time on the earth is limited, per se. Spiritually, you can kill Nipsey, but you can't kill the idea. But Nipsey was extraordinary from a distance because I wasn't in his generation, so I'm not going to sit here and tell false stories about me and Nip. And I have pictures of me and Nip. I'll send that to you too, put in your description. But he was culturally diverse, but he was culturally infused because of where he came from.
Yeah.
So naturally, there were limitations on how much he would enjoy being what they would consider America calls a gang member. He wasn't a gang member as much as he was a resident of that community.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? It's like I wrote an article once before called Mama, Why Did You Move on This Block? And we've had this discussion. You move here from Arkansas, per se, over on Crenshaw and something street, and you see the palm trees and the police patrol and the good schools and all that, but you don't know underneath that fabric is something totally different. So when one community get into it with the other people on the other side of the tracks, they don't ask if you little whoop-de-whoop from over there that's a shooter or wannabe. They just know you from that side of the tracks. And that's what gangbanging has turned into. When I was growing up, brothers in the streets would get their man when they played blood sports. You got your man. You didn't get kids. You didn't shoot randomly down the street. You didn't unnecessarily flash firearms. You didn't do that. You didn't even look into the camera. You ever notice them old gang member pictures, them old prison pictures, they'd be looking up in the air like this. They ain't even looking to the camera. Yeah. You know, you remember them days, you look in that camera and get punched in your mouth.
Yeah.
Quick. See, Tookie Williams never sold crack cocaine. Tookie Williams, God bless his ancestor, he never did a drive-by. Raymond Washington, God bless his soul, our ancestor, he never sold crack cocaine. He never did a drive-by. Ever. Ever.
Yeah.
They might have fought, had a shotgun for 30 people in the community. I don't know the history of Crip and Blood, and all I know is the history of the destruction of our people. Labeled as Crip and Blood when it's all tribal. See, this is how I look at it. It's just my personal analysis. When you look at the brothers and sisters from the Hoover community, most of them represent Texas on their hats, right? Houston hats or whatever, yeah. Astros, whatever. Then you look at the brothers on the other side from neighborhood communities, they represent stuff that represents like New Orleans and stuff like that, right? So my point is, if you do the math on it, under the Taraji P Act, the math ain't mathing. But if you look at the roots of the cause of this, the root causes of this, that's two plantations fighting each other. A Texas plantation, Louisiana plantation. Now look at the history of them fighting. So when you get to the gang thing and you put it down the middle, that's really what it is. It's two different tribes from two different sections. And in the middle, you might get a couple of people from Alabama or North Carolina in there. You know, Chicago might get some folks from North Carolina or something like up in their tribe. But this far to the left coast, the two plantation, Hatfield and McCoy, metaphorically speaking, would be out of Texas and New Orleans, because it's either neighborhood or gangsters. Or in the case with the brothers and sisters from the Hoovers, they just Hoovers. And I don't know the history of these people, so don't ask me. And I got family members that's from every side, people that I've met and grown over the years and become family with.
Yeah.
From damn near every neighborhood they got. One of my partner's sons just had a baby with a little sister from F-13. And they welcome that dude with open arms, man. Unbelievable. Like, he really accepted he's a good kid, you know, he got a good job, they starting their little family. But I salute him for that, because that's bridging the gap. But when I went over there and I seen where he stayed, and I'm looking at how much they love this dude, and they got the baby coming because he was best friends, according to what the dad told me, with the brother who passed away in some unfortunate accident. And he's there, and I watched this little dude from a baby. I can't do nothing but salute him. Because say we need a crisis or something, we need to contact somebody over there. So you never stop with this activist stuff. You become a full-time social worker. That's why I put on my social worker suit. I need to check and see if the kids got cereal.
Nah, man, it's a sad thing. It's like a nice cigar right there, man.
only smoke the best, man. And the reason I smoke weed, I'm not smoking weed because I'm trying to get high. My mama gave me my first joint. She used to put Pampers on us and blow smoke in our face. Today she'd be locked up. But she used to put Pampers on us and let us wax the floor in our little diapers and hit us with that weed. I don't use no other drugs.
Yeah.
I used to manufacture PCP, but I never smoked it. I used to get high from cooking it, and I was high for a long time. Last time I said how long I was high for, one of these scientists in there, high for that long? Yeah, it's a lingering effect. That's one drug that you do not want to play with. I've been trying to catch that one mosquito. I think I got him.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, viewers, I didn't mean, Peter, don't inbox me. But that dude been eating me alive for like a week.
And did you say you made, you used to cook Sherm?
Yeah, PCP, Sherm.
PCP.
You know why they call it Sherm?
Why?
Do you really know?
No idea.
Well, it's PCP for cyclidine is the chemical that they use to make it, that makes dolls and plastic and stuff like that. I'm not gonna hand out the manufacturing ingredients because it was a evil situation. And PCP, they call it Sherm Sticks because the cigarettes that they used to dip it in was called a Sherman cigarette, come in a brown box. It's like an English cigarette or European cigarette. So you would dip it and give a person a half a stick. You know, we used to call it butt naked or that gorilla piss yellow. But that PCP, I don't know what they got today though, because whatever drugs they got today make the PCP that we was involved with. And God forgive me and community, please forgive me. I'm not some reformed Christian, nothing like that, but I'm just trying to tell you, I'm really sorry for that. But the PCP that they had then, the best water that we cooked, came to lend a candle to what these pharmaceutical drugs they got people on today, bro.
Huh.
These are psychiatric drugs mixed with LSD, mixed with poverty, mixed with oppression, and mixed with lack of faith. These drugs I see today, I seen a dude the other day that was riding a stationary bike, stationary that you have in your house, you go like this. He was riding that down the street. I said, that dude's a scientist. How you do that? How?
He rode it down the street.
He had the wheels in the back and the wheels in the front, got off the train with it, no frame on the bottom, and he had the wheels on the ground like a bike, and he was rolling like this and had it standing up going down the street. I said, that dude need to join Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus.
Wow. Was it like homemade shit? Or?
No, brother, I just told you what it was. The dude had a bike that somebody obviously threw away, a stationary bike that your girl would have at the house, and he took the frame part of it that holds it stationary and just had the wheels and the thing, and I seen him jump on it, and he did like this and took off on it. That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I seen.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I said, that dude's a genius. You don't even know it. Like Nipsey said, you know, the homies are genius, but they just don't have a platform.
Yeah. Now, you said something about the Jheri Curl crew era. Good Fred, oil hair turn orange. Can you explain what you meant by that?
You one of the most curious youngsters I've ever seen in my life. God bless Mr. Good Fred. They still off of 54th and Western. Their family still got his establishment. For some people whose hair was not done right or whose hair didn't take right, see, when you get your Jheri curl back in the days, you couldn't have no drugs in you because it wouldn't take. The chemicals, it was a collision. It was a chemical collision inside your body, okay? That's why you see most of the brothers today my age are bald-headed because them chemicals was eating us up. See, they started out with the afro, then they hit us with the gunk, like the Malcolm X days, that hot stuff that lied to knock your hair down.
S-curl.
No, sir. Let me tell you what happened. That's why our show Wild Moguls is good, because we're really wild moguls in this conversation. No S-curl. That's way down the line. That's way down there like Rampart compared to SSU. First it was the afro. Then they hit us with the lie that you made it straight. That's what Malcolm X had. Then after that, they hit us with the finger waves. Then after the finger waves, they hit us with that Jheri Curl. And the reason I'm talking about this Jheri Curl, because let me tell you something about that Jheri Curl, Mr. Jheri. Mr. Jheri Curl Era had to be the most vicious, misled, destructive era of black men that ever hit the planet. When you think about, ask some of your viewers about that Jheri Curl Era and that gangbang crew. That was a whole nother animal. I believe them chemicals was affecting our thought process, to be honest with you. But that Jheri Curl crew, that's the real 80s drive-by, shoot the house up, wear your khakis, wear your 501c3s, get your clothes from, what's that spot? There was a little store they had, Western Surplus or something like that, over there near the Coliseum. You get your khakis and your whole gang kit, you know what I mean? And it's so crazy because one time I was with a friend of mine and I was trying to explain to him how easy it is to become a wannabe gangster or gang member until you get to be one. So I went to the liquor store and I said, man, can we get some gloves? I got the little brownies. I said, man, let me get a hat. Got me a little hat. I got a t-shirt. I wasn't gonna wear it or nothing. I got some, I think I got one of the little belts and some Lokes. Remember they used to sell the Lokes?
Yeah.
Everybody had Lokes, the real Jones. And then the Spanish brothers had the brush in the palm of their hand, used to do their hair like this, you know what I mean, with their pants jacked up. And I used to tell my boy, I said, man, I'm going to get me a gangbanger starter kit. So they promoted this stuff in our community. You know how much money that Old English made off of black people and poor people and brown people? You know how much money Dayton's made? You know how much money Nardi steering wheels made? El Camino? You know how much money they made? The car industry didn't start making money when the rappers came. The car industry started making money when that cocaine got there. Them El Caminos, them 454s, them Suzuki trucks. See, y'all missed all that. The big beat in the back of the car. Y'all missed all that, man, unfortunately. But that was the days when you listening to the Fat Boys Are Back, because you
Like
know
85,
you can never be
88.
right. I don't know what 5 and what 8 it was. All I know is that, boy, you would wait. And it wasn't because we were young, but Los Angeles was lit. Crenshaw was lit. We had a show called on KJLH called Peace Treaty. Tony Bogard, Daoud, a bunch of brothers, Tyreek, a bunch of us in there. Chocolate came through there from Long Beach, Snoop, to Daz and all them dudes. And before Daz and them came, we used to come outside and we had to jump in the car like the Beatles. There'd be so many people outside trying to holler at us. Thousands and thousands every week. Because our show was on a Sunday night, and Crenshaw used to be lit on Sunday nights. For those of y'all that remember, that's old enough to remember the Peace Treaty show, Peacemaker was my only situation. I've done it in radio, TV, and print, and everything that I've ever done in the industry was to advocate for peace for us because I got the instructions from y'all. This ain't no Malik show. This is what the people say do. Let me tell you a quick story. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was having a conversation one day, I believe. I'm not telling the story correct, but fly with me. And somebody walked up, hey, such and such died. Do you, the good prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, do you think he went to heaven or hell? They said the prophet turned around and said, what did the people say? Were you an asshole? Were you a good person? What did the people say determines where you go, because a good name is worth more than gold. So always remember that, young people. Don't get a bunch of enemies that you can't keep up with when you get older and then tired of running the streets. Because like Pac said in his song, it's okay to run the streets. Shorty want to be a thug, but you can run the streets, but watch the stop signs.
Yeah.
You know who's the coldest rapper that ever lived? And I want you to play this song on this over this conversation or somewhere in it. But you ever heard that song by Tupac called not only God can judge me, but anyhow, it'll come to me. But that Tupac Shakur was a bad boy. If you really listen to him, just really listen to Pac. I don't care how old you are, but listen to Pac. You be like, dude, where you get that from at that young age?
But now, there's a lot of things. I seen that, and I love Pac, and I felt where he could have been, but what he actually did is he was a part of the destruction of our community, because he took hip hop and turned it in from being a battle, you know, not necessarily him, but he was a young cat, but the machine helped
I
portray
beg to
it.
differ. And if I do it Wild Mogul style, I say, man, you sound stupid than a motherfucker.
All right.
Know why?
I'm just
you
giving
my
you a
nigga,
perspective.
so
I'm
we
just
agree
giving you
to
a
disagree.
perspective. I want to hear your perspective. That's why I'm saying
my point
it.
is, first of all, like Kendrick Lamar said, take a spoonful of liquor and you dive in. Tupac was already in the. See, the marathon go like this. There's some people in the marathon that's gonna be running, drinking water, hurting their knees, stopping, triaging, and some more shit. Family hooping and hollering, clowning. Then there's some people that's gonna be in the victory lap. But you're still in the marathon. So with Tupac just dove in head first with a spoonful of liquor and dove in, but he was already a product of that poverty. He just knew what vein to hit. He didn't create something like that. That's the hidden hand did that. He just talked about it. He didn't contribute to it. He was just a product of it. If you was walking to the middle of a tornado, you in the middle of the tornado with the rest of that stuff that's spinning around. Tupac didn't create nothing that was already. Tupac got into something that he may not have been totally familiar with. See, there's only 3 people that I know of that was able to function on the West Coast, and it's from the East Coast. And I'll give credit to Tretch from whatever show he was on, whatever group he was with. There was myself.
Naughty by Nature.
Yes, Naughty by Nature. There was myself, Ice-T, and Tupac. We're all bi-coastal. And none of us are bisexual. There's only 3 that function in the fabric, in the petri dish of Los Angeles. Like Nip say, I'm from LA from a certain section. That don't mean your block or how tough your block is. That mean you endured the masses of the stuff that was handed down to you. Tupac didn't have the ability to create nothing like that. That's not in his nature. His thing was to expose the hidden hand, and in the process, he was willing to sacrifice his life as a martyr for it. So he had to agitate it as much as he can and expose it as much as he can, but you also have to participate in it. You can't be on the outside of the club talking about the fool on the inside popping bottles and playing with the girls. You can't be no hater. You outside the club. So Tupac didn't come and create nothing. He didn't use... Hip-hop was already destined for greatness. Long before Tupac. With the last poets and them type dudes. Rudy Ray Moe and all them dudes. Tupac...
No, what I meant to say is, until Hit 'Em Up came out, rap kept rap. But it turned personal when Hit 'Em Up. It became, now you didn't just rap metaphorically and just about bars. You took it from bars, but it's now real. So when I see you in the streets, it's on. Like,
well, the copy will never be worth more than the original. And he didn't take it from nothing. He tried to keep you from going behind bars by jumping on the front line in front of the gun. He didn't take something. You can't extrapolate fake from real. It's not going to happen. You're not going to extrapolate, real from fake. It's not going to happen. So when Tupac got in it and he talked about what he was doing, he was speaking on behalf of the people. You know why? Because they asked him, what did the people say? It goes back to character. Because so he jumped in like the spook who sat by the door, which is a great book I suggest, and Behold to Come a Pale Horse. But he jumped in under the auspices of entertainment, but he had a message to deliver that was prophetic.
What do you feel about 50 Cent?
50 Cent's a genius. He's a marketing genius, and 50 Cent is out of my community. I'm not out of his, out of Jamaica, Queens. And every time I see 50, he give me my respect. I seen 50 once before, and there's a pizza place on Melrose in like Venice or something, or Arlington, I'm not certain, on the corner of Mozo's or Mazzo's. And he's like, Malik. And I pulled over, and I went in the restaurant with him, and we sat down. And I said, man, throw a nigga something, 50, let me owe something. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, you know, if you owe that dude $30, 50 cents, he coming to get it.
He coming to get that shit.
You know, he coming to get it. And I love that about him. You know why? Because if 50 didn't have what he had, God forbid, he'd probably be deceased. Then that man lost his mama in them streets. So his program in his brain was already pre-programmed before he became 50. See, he's not the real 50 Cents. He's just a character 50 Cents. He's Curtis, as your man would say. What's this dude's name? I can't think of his name, and he's a popular dude on the internet. Charleston White would say. He goes by your character that your mother gave you before you became the person that you are, when he makes that metaphor, with minus the disrespect. But the real 50 Cent was a youngster out of New York that was a real hitter and a real money getter. Just like people say Suge Knight. Suge Knight was an extraordinary person in the entertainment business, and he did what Suge Knight does. But the real Suge that I remember was killed picking up his Rolls Royce, I believe, in Detroit at the place where you pick up stuff, like in San Pedro, what do you call it, the ports. But he was a drug dealer, allegedly. That's the real Suge.
Wow.
Okay? You got to know these things. And like the real Rick Ross, Freeway Rick Ross, is the real Freeway Rick Ross.
Yeah.
But these kids are indoctrinated with our lifestyles, and then they just go out and they recreate it in their own way, write themselves into the script, and then they come out with what they come out with. You can't be mad at them. We've been getting plagiarized and ripped off for years.
Yeah.
So 50 was unique. I'm going to tell you somebody that I think is unique, too, that I'd love to have a long-term conversation with. And I'd probably take me a couple of mushrooms and some weed, because I've never thought about shrooms. But Lil Wayne, I seen him in Atlanta once, and I was at a club. And the bodyguard was sweating me. And Lil Wayne looked over there, and he said, Malik, Peacemaker. And it shocked me, because he said, blood. I'm like, blood? He said, come over here with me. We was at some club in Atlanta, and the bodyguard was already ready to beat me up. And I walked through, like, you know, I was an old fan, groupie. You know, I had my tough guy face. When I walked past the guard, I looked at him all crazy. I went and sat down with Lil Wayne and stuff, man. He was telling me how much he appreciated the show and stuff like that. But I'd love to really sit down with him one-on-one. He can come to my house. I don't need to go to your house. Just sit down with him and just see where he at spiritually. Because I'm quite sure some stuff that he want to talk about.
Yeah. I feel he's probably very high level spiritual.
Of course, because he's been exposed.
Exposed to too much.
See, not too much. He's been exposed to just enough, because he plays Spookoo Sabbath. All them dudes is one person. The Tupac, the Nipsey, the Biggie Smalls, the Big Puns, the, you know, or and my boy I love so much, man, was Pop Smoke. Man, I love that youngster, man. Jay-Z, that youngster that gave you a run for your money, boy. You already was having a hard time keeping up with Nas, who's another brilliant person who sent his regards saying that he loved what we're doing on the show Peacemaker. But that Pop Smoke, Dior, if you listen to that youngster's lyrics, wicked. And another youngster, Drakeo, if you listen to the fabric of what they're saying. Then there's another youngster called Young Hothead, I think it is. He a Muslim. But I think his name Young Hothead or something. But he hard, man. Because you hear their struggles. You can't listen to the warp drum. You got to listen to the lyrics. He off the chain with his. He was on Boosie's daughter's show once before. But back to the record at hand. I truly believe in my heart that the cream always rises to the top. And I truly believe in my heart, based on a true story, that the struggles of us as a people was built into our DNA before we were even created. Remember, God created us from the quintessentials of the earth. And your brain and your heart was pre-programmed like your computer before you got it. They knew your beginning, your middle, and your end. So when you know that and you're aware of that, you try to put as much as you can into the rope pulling in this struggle, whether you're here or you're gone. That's the importance of being black. Because see, black is not a people, it's a condition, literally. But for the most part, you have to just appreciate being that valuable to where everybody either wants you or want to kill you. And that's what I've come to live with, the fact that I am a black man and I am God made in his image. And if you don't like me, fuck you. I'll accept that. That's why I got so many partners that's rednecks and Hell's Angels, a couple of them, and a couple of Mongols. I got pictures to show it, and I'll give it to you to put in your description. Because if you look at the word ism, what does it mean? The study of something, correct? Mm-hmm. So if I see this person that's into racism or socialism or anything with an ISM at the bottom, I have to respect that. I don't have a problem with a redneck being a racist. Because one thing that me and that dude got in common, I like my land, my quads, my truck, my woman, my family. He like his land, his trailer, his truck, his quad, his woman, and both of us is getting screwed.
Yeah.
I listen to country western. So don't call me no damn racist or complaining. I deal with all walks of life, and all of us have something in common, and that is oxygen. Mm-hmm. Like what you and I have in common more than anything right now is that we're both alive on this date. That was already pre-written. But this dude right here, I recommend anybody that appreciate good music listen to Oliver Anthony, or go listen to the brother that do country western. That's a bad boy.
Who?
Okay.
Darius Rucker?
There you go. There you go. And then the other one.
Kane Brown?
No, you know your stuff, huh, young man? Shabuzi and all them dudes.
Shabuzi.
Darius Rucker and...
Well, you know, I got a Caucasian wife that's really Caucasian, so she actually goes to some of the country.
Marcellus, the singer. You really don't have a Caucasian wife as much as you have one like Jesus' mother and all them that were kept amongst the righteous. You just have a good wife.
A good wife.
There's no such thing as a Caucasian wife. The Caucasus Mountains is located near Russia or something. You just have a mother that bared your children. As I always tell people, only a woman knows the pains of life are equal to the pains of death. So you just happen to have a good wife.
Yeah.
Who happens to be of a different complexion.
Yep.
So
great
do
person.
me a favor and don't call her your, even though I understand what you're saying, but that's not your Caucasian wife, that's your wife.
My wife.
So when she see this video, you might want to cut this part out.
Oh, no.
Or do I need to just keep going on what a good woman is? You know what a good woman is?
Huh?
You know what a good woman is?
Explain.
Is when you come home from a hard day's work and she gives you the girlfriend experience. Meet you at the door if she like, maybe grab your jacket. You know, your food is ready, the conversation is cool, the teeth are white, the wine is good, the jazz is on. Might have a flower or two in the bed. She got the little moo-moo. See, y'all didn't grow up with the moo-moo dresses. The ones that get your mama pregnant. Yeah, some of these young ladies out there about them little gowns. They used to have them sundresses and them little moo-moos from the 80s. That's how half of y'all came in. See, we can't make no... Remember the era of the moo-moo dress and the sundress. Okay. Those are the dresses that were creating babies. Yeah. If I had to go by the music that they playing today, no disrespect to all of them in the jar, but y'all don't have no baby making music. Y'all don't have no Etta James, and you for sure don't have no Teena Marie.
Nah, we got some baby making music,
like
but
what?
You know, I don't
Lil
know.
Durk.
I don't know if it's baby making music, but
let me tell you who I look at the top of the list.
Sex music.
If I didn't have my woman, let me tell you, and I tell her this all the time, it's only a few women that can really strike my heart. And I know I'm not worthy of their attention, but Erykah Badu once, I was at the House of Blues. And Erykah, if you watching this, I love you too. And she said, I walked in, she said, what's your name? I said, my name is Malik. And she said, wow, what a name so wonderful for a God so beautiful. And my wallet jumped out my pocket. And she gave me an autographed picture, and I went home. At the time I was married to my kid's mother, and she tore the picture up and stuff, but that lady was flirting with me. And then another time, this is on the Glorious Quran, I'm in a club somewhere, I think it was in Atlanta, and I was smoking a blunt, and I was standing next to Rihanna. And she leaned on my shoulder, right? I ain't gonna say she was flirting with me, because I do got that family planning type hair. But in my mind, she was flirting. She was leaning on me for a long time. And there was a Spanish girl in front of us, and she told her to stay over there, and she was leaning on me. And I don't know if it was the blunt smoke no, it was her bodyguard, hateful hater. He came over and pushed me out the way. After we were sitting there, she leaned on me for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And dude, I left there like this. I only got 2 teeth, but I left there like this. Then another time I seen, who was it? It was Beyonce at the BET Awards in LA somewhere. And she was leaving, walking to her car. She wasn't super Beyonce then. And me and my boy was behind her. I was working for BET. And I was like, damn, she got ass like a motherfucker. And she was in front of us. But I didn't know it was Beyonce. And she turned around and she had her shoes off. So Beyonce, I know you remember that because she had her shoes off. I was working for this lady named Stephanie or something that was the executive at BET. And then I called myself, I felt bad because I didn't really know, she didn't have no Jay-Z and none of that, I don't think. But another time, I used to be hanging around just from a distance, Mary J. Blige, when she used to wear all black all the time. That's one person that you really want to sit down. If you ever get a chance to interview with her, I'd love to be the one to do it. Because she used to smoke some bomb-ass weed and wear black all the time. I'm like, why she wear black all the time?
Oh, can you explain to us how you said Teena Marie is from Venice, Shoreline, Crips?
Well, let me correct myself because I know you have some of the most studious viewers in the world and they'll do their research. Remember when I just made that statement, Mama, why did you move on this block? Uh-huh. And whatever block you move on, that's the community that your kids will be known from or represented.
Yeah.
Well, Teena Marie grew up in Venice, Shoreline.
Okay.
And Teena Marie obviously had to be exposed to some type of Venice Shoreline activity.
Yeah.
Because Venice Shoreline, to the best of my knowledge, only got Hispanic and black gangs, but they only got Crips and Hispanic gangs. They don't have any Damus or Bloods in Venice.
Okay.
Just like Long Beach don't have any blood gangs in their community. And Teena Marie was an interesting person. And by the way, I believe her daughter's coming out with a documentary on her soon. You should try to get a conversation with her. But if you really listen to that Deja Vu and Out on a Limb and all that, that was a bad girl. So here's my playlist that I do every day. Tupac #1. Etta James, because I like that song, I'd Rather Go Blind. I think that was a phenomenal song. That damn Erykah Badu, come play with me like you did DJ. What's that dude name that knocked the Rothschild's girl and got a baby by Erykah Badu? DJ.
J Electronica.
J Electronica. How do you knock the Rothschild's girl, or Rothschilds, and her husband make almost $800 million a year? She flying you on private jets and you lose it. I always want to ask DJ, what's his name? Electronic?
J Electronica.
J Electronica. Was your light bill off that day? How you go past the enemy line and get that out? And you one of us. You a believer. How you do that?
He might still be with her.
Absolutely not, man. Your objective thoughts are not accepted. We reject that deposit, Mr. Podcaster. That's absolutely not true.
We object that deposit.
We reject that deposit, and we're raising objections to that statement that you made that has no points and authority in the court of law.
So, Tina Marie grew up in the Venice Shoreline community, we'll say.
Yeah. And she was an outside white girl that came amongst blacks, loved the culture, and was getting teased by the other white kids in her community for her being around black people.
Now, you were saying when you was incarcerated, you said he used to really go down in the visiting room.
She's a funny dude, man. Thank God you never made it to prison. I hope you don't ever go. But that visiting room in that prison, man, is you get quite creative when it's time to, you know, kiss your girl, or I've seen situations where people get busted having sex in the visiting room, and I knew of a dude, I won't mention his name, but when it was time to get what we had to do on our little medication that we all need, this dude girl would come in there and hug him on the first shot and slide it right up in his rectum. And I'm like, dude, how you do that? How? See, y'all don't know what it's like to be in there when you got to carry a knife in your rectum and you're not bisexual. It ain't got nothing to do with no sexuality. It's got something to do with your survival. If you don't do it carry it in the cheek of your ass, you're going to carry that kisu. And you're not going to go to the yard with them shower shoes on without that kisu. See, I was in Old Folsom, and you know what's the coldest thing about Old Folsom? Literally, them oppressors, the correction officers, turnkeys. I was in Old Folsom, my little thin ass. And they used to call the showers. Ain't no showers in the building because the buildings was made, it used to be a Japanese internment camp or something. So it was made like in the 1800s or something like that when they snatched all them, 1900s, and they snatched all them Japanese off Crenshaw. See, Crenshaw Boulevard is owned by a white family, the Crenshaws. But all behind Crenshaw, they did Boys in the Hood and all that on the other side of the Baldwin Hills Village, on the east side of the street. That was where a lot of Japanese people live. They got babies by brothers that, like yourself, that are of Japanese descent. So when you go on the back of Crenshaw, behind the Sentinel, you see those apartments back there, the houses got little doors in the front, unlike my door, because the Japanese people weren't that tall. So when you go, they got nice gardens of bonsais and stuff in the front. But Crenshaw Boulevard, people don't know, for your listening audience, we got oceans on Crenshaw. You can take Crenshaw from Wilshire to Palos Verde,
yeah.
and you're at the ocean.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's on Crenshaw Boulevard.
That's on Crenshaw.
We don't have beaches, we have oceans.
Yeah.
Like Miami got that little strip of beach.
Yeah.
Los Angeles go from here to San Francisco. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So we got a Crenshaw, we got an ocean on Crenshaw. Then on the other side of Crenshaw, for the listening audience, and we'll do a story on it, we'll go over this called The Other Side of Crenshaw, is a segment that we'll do. They got multi-million-dollar houses back there with black urban professionals that came out of the black exploitation era when they were doing the movies like Superfly and things of that nature that were back there that were very successful. Then down the street, I think you got a thing called Sugar Hill on Adams or something, where they got all them historic homes from the plantation homes.
Yeah.
So don't believe everything you hear about the hood is toe up and all that. You know how much a house costs in Watts? No less than $700,000. You know how much a house costs in South Central? $1 million. Wow. You know what your house costs over there in A-Trade Hood? $1 million, $850,000. When I first came out there, all them houses was paid for. Look how much a house costs in the 80s. Probably like what, 60,000, 50,000.
Yeah.
That's one thing I respect about Freeway Rick and them. They lived beyond the freeway, but they bought all their properties in the ghetto. Now, a few that moved out, like Drake, like they said, Cube said, one big house, not another nigga in sight. That was the niggas that left. But your mama wasn't leaving in the dope era because you had a cocaine sack. She knew it wasn't gonna last. That's another thing that moms was knew about. No matter how much money your big name had in the streets, if you was a baller in LA, your mama stayed in LA. She wasn't moving because their houses was paid for. When I came out, they had water bottles on the yard. To ask your viewers to make a comment, they used to keep the gophers out. And the banks wouldn't hand out no loans to the houses, not one. Wow. Period. They just start putting banks in the ghetto. Then they took them out and started putting ATMs.
Wow.
So that's just a little history, man. I remember all the stores was black, all the liquor stores was black, the restaurants was black and brown, all up and down there. And then the people came in and seen that and they said, oh no, we got to take this back. That's what happened. Then they pushed the boundary lines from South Central, they pushed it all the way back. Same thing they doing in Chicago, same thing they doing in LA, Oakland. What's that other little city that they be watching our show in, that's the predominantly outside of Los Angeles?
Texas.
Texas. Shout out to Texas. You know what city? Shout out to Texas, man. I love y'all, man. I'm trying to get down there and hang out with my twins from the little podcast, man. But shout out to Texas, man. I love y'all down there, man. And we ain't going for all them rumors about they got all these disease people in Texas. Who put it there? Because we've been having weapons of mass destruction and biological weapons in the ghetto. Big 4.5s, AK-47s, HIV, AIDS. So it ain't nothing new. Dear Mr. President, we got weapons of mass destruction in the inner city. AK, switches, yada, yada, yada. We got weapons of biological mass destruction, fentanyl, cocaine, pharmaceutical pills. Mr. President, you forgot one dope dealer dough to go kick down, CVS. They got our children on drugs, dope fiends, at a young age, and they're promoting this with a Louis belt and a wife beater t-shirt. And they're promoting their anger that they got from us because of the struggle of our people, because it's built in us. So we watching, we paying attention, we watching you.
Hold on, cut. And, all right.
Hi, I'm Bob Subscrouncy from Wild Mogul News, and here's an update from our community. Group drinking at Harvard Park baseball field. So, where the fuck else they supposed to drink? At the liquor store? Next on Wild Mogul News. Police have received a report of a group of people drinking at the Harvard Park baseball. Report of person threatening to shoot following a crash. Fatal triple shooting on Florence Avenue. 2 of the victims have died. May God be pleased with their soul. Okay, this is what we deal with on a regular in Los Angeles. We have to do better. That's Wild Mogul News. Okay, search for man armed with a handgun. Search for shooting suspect. Owner reunited with missing dog. Great. Pedestrian fatally struck by vehicle. That's every day in Los Angeles. What are the city officials going to do about that? Person breaking into residence on 58th Street. And of course, we have 2 more news things here that we'd like to share with our listening audience, which pertains to sports and weather.
Well,
people in poverty, 0. System 100, bottom of the 9th. Weather, UFO due to arrive here in Los Angeles or around the atmosphere of the United States of the Earth within the next few weeks, with black hieroglyphics and other secret messages on there. That's news, weather, and sports. Bob, back to you in the newsroom.
so now, when you came here, who was the most poppin'est dude in the streets?
In my own mind, me. But in real life, Renee McGower. Because Renee McGower, God bless his soul. And I mention these dudes because I don't want the world to forget them. I'm not glorifying them or nothing, but I know the hand that they served was a hand that was delicate. But I remember once we was at the Long Beach Arena, and God bless Renee McGower, he came up, and that dude, this is before rappers even knew anything about jewelry. That dude had on diamonds, gold, but more diamonds. His whole chest was like illuminating, like he had swallowed a nuclear pill or some radiation or something. And he had on so much jewelry, I guess the police thought he was an entertainer or something, and they would stand around, but he had on $1 million worth of jewelry.
Renee McGowan.
Yes, Manpower's uncle. Shout out to the McGower family.
He stayed in the east side?
Out of Nickerson Gardens. Watts. He was the flyest dude on the streets back then.
And he lived in Nickerson? And he lived in the Nickersons with all that?
Yeah, you know what's interesting that people don't know? I don't know where he lived, beloved. Podcasters don't just accept the information. You always got to kind of try to twist it or something. I'm like, here's the facts. You know, that's what makes our show great, that we can converse like this, and then you gotta have that stupid look when I kind of try to tell you, nah, that's not what happened. This is a real show. That ain't what the fuck I said. Renee McGowan was for the Nixon Gardens. When we went to Long Beach Arena to see a concert, he was standing there with $1 million worth of diamonds and gold. I don't know where he lived. I don't think he lived over there though.
Wow.
It was nothing back then to see a brother with a
Did he have a label?
No, he was a drug dealer, allegedly.
Allegedly.
We didn't know nothing about no labels back then. Back in the days when the oil giants was in LA, Sony, Standard Oils of New York, which is an oil company, Hollywood had to go to the oil people to get the money. That was a dope man back then. Either that or you go to the mob. All movies, most of the movies are there financed by either England or the government. You don't just go in and, I want to make a movie about a UFO. You do.
Did you ever see Harry O like moving before he went to jail?
I grew up in the same area where we had his shop with his brother Dave, God bless his soul, that was allegedly drowned on a boat or disappeared on the boat. I don't know what happened. I didn't see the brother. But I used to talk to Harry O as a youngster. I don't know if he remembered that, but he used to be, I believe, off of Florence or something like that. But I never did no dealings with him or anything.
But was he like super fly?
Harry O was always like, the few times that I encountered him, which I vaguely remember, and I know he probably don't, I believe it was at a body shop on Florence. Maybe I'm wrong. I know his brother's name was David. I was cooler with him too a little bit. But he was a low-key dude. Like, he wasn't no, and he's kind of still like that today. He's not no dude that's gonna jump out the bushes and want to be seen, because everything spoke for itself. Back then we had a philosophy, things understood need not be spoken.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knew you sold dope or whatever you did, but nobody was telling.
But from what I heard, and I think it was from him, but they said his style, and I think Rick Ross said it, was, and Rick Ross said he wished he should have been kind of like Harry O, but Harry O's style was, his extravagance attracted all the biggest dope dealers to where he was able to, basically, he ain't had to do nothing because he had all the guys that bought everything. But his extravagance was like, it piqued the interest of real niggas that get money, because it's kind of like you get money, then you really looking at him like.
Drug dealers back then was a fraternity, even a sorority. Okay. So I don't think his flyness is what made niggas want to, he getting money. I mean, you getting money right now, niggas gonna jump out the bushes hanging around you all night. They never leave your house. But Harry O was just Harry O. And I can't speak on his business. I don't speak on them dudes' business to that degree. I may brush across some shit, but I don't know his business, so I can't make up no shit on Harry. I know he put Denzel Washington in the game.
Yeah.
I know that's a fact.
And he was the first independent black production on Broadway, wasn't it?
Yep. He was the first Medea type dude. What's that dude name that played?
Tyler Perry?
Yeah, but you know who's an extraordinary person that moved real stealth? And I could have cracked her once before, but then my homeboy, Dirty Mac. But Halle Berry used to have a center in the Baldwin Village over there near the Jays, the jungles as they call it, for battered women or something. And my partner had a program in there for the youth. And I used to see her sneaking up in, I forget what kind of car she is, but I used to see her sneaking there, but she was dedicated to that. But she had a battered women's center, and I believe the place got gentrified, that's why I left. But you would have never known it. Huh. Then like that other sister, what's her name? She played, I think, in Stella Got Her Groove Back. What's that lady's name?
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. I used to be in the back of Leimert Park smoking my little weed, doing what we do in the 90s. And she used to always come to this beauty salon in the back and get her hair done when her hair was all fly thick. And she was cool, but she used to just run in and run out, but she wasn't very sociable. I guess she didn't want the attention drawn to the place or her. And I seen another time at the rooftop downtown LA. She's a very attractive sister, and her and a friend was sitting. I think we talked to them for a few seconds, and they was real cool, but she's super cool too. And then the other one that I had an opportunity to meet was the Ross chick, Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy Ross.
And I ain't gonna lie, dude, I was in Malibu and I seen her, and
Who would have some dope house parties in the 80s and 90s that you remember?
Jim Hill from the News.
Jim Hill.
Jim Hill used to have the bombest parties, man.
Hey man, my dad's ex-secretary, my dad's secretary for years was his ex-wife.
Jim Hill, man. Jim Hill throw the baddest parties in America. I don't know if he still do, but he used to open it up to the community, like. And boy, you go up there, you be mingling with some superstars, the Dodgers. Cause see, the Dodgers was cool. God bless him. Nigga Daryl Thomas, who's a Dodger. I think he was a 1980 something, a Dodger champion or something. But Dusty Baker and all them type dudes, you know, they was on that powder. You know, not Mr. Thomas, but you know, all them other Dodgers and black Dodgers back in the days, them dudes was buck wild. They wasn't like them Dodgers and them Lakers back then ain't like the new team they got now. Them dudes would knock something down. They was lit. Especially them Dodgers. They was lit. What? The Lakers over there at that forum was over the top lit. That little private Laker room, whatever they got.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Jheri Bus. I had a friend of mine from Panama. She was a very attractive lady. She was Miss Panama for a minute. And we was rolling down Manchester going towards Westchester. And the police pulled us over. And I was like, damn. They pulled us over. And I was like, damn, what they pull us over for? The police walked up to the car. He said, excuse me, ma'am. License, insurance, registration. She handed the registration. He looked at her. He said, he didn't even go walk away. He said, is this SUV registered to Jheri Bus, the owner of the Lakers? She was like, yeah, that's my boyfriend or something. He said, okay, ma'am, have a good day. Nigga, we had weed in the car and everything. Back then, you couldn't have no weed in the car. Jheri Bus Jheri Bus like them young, beautiful ass females. And he stayed around black people. I believe when Jheri Bus won the championship one year, he was at the casino gambling at the slot machine. Everybody else was celebrating the Lakers win. He was at the slot machine. He was a realist. Organic. Jheri Bus wasn't no dude he wasn't no racist or nothing. He just wanted to get some win, baby, win money like Al Davis.
Yeah.
For Jheri Bus and Al Davis, them type dudes, them was gangsters, man. They ain't had time to play that. How they playing it now in the NBA, you couldn't play with them like that.
Yeah.
They didn't play that, dude. You get Judge Joe Brown and them type dudes. You didn't play with them dudes like that, man. Like Judge Mathis playing with Joe Brown. You don't play with them dudes like that. Them was real gangsters.
Oh, Judge Mathis. Yeah.
But Judge Mathis, you stay in your place. I drove you in a Jackson limousine before when you lived in that Mulholland Estates, wherever we went to. But you leave Judge Joe Brown alone because he's real. Joe Brown used to carry 2 pistols just in case he dropped one.
Oh yeah, and you know he was a judge for the case that the Martin Luther King family did. They did a civil case and they settled for $1, but they proved, and it's on record, and no one ever really talks about this, but they proved that the guy that got convicted for Martin Luther King's murder, they proved that he ain't did nothing. He was a patsy.
Yeah, I remember that when it took place with that situation. That's why they kind of blackballed a little bit on Judge Joe Brown and the rest of them.
But they gave him a show after that.
Yeah, I mean, but as of today, you know, they'll give you a bunch of stuff to recoup their money back. But as of today, you know, anytime you start piping like this or saying things that really make a difference, then the repercussions are always there in terms of, you know, you not being accepted by the masses until it happens. Some of this stuff has to be applied accordingly. Meaning some of the stuff that we're prognosticating and talking about right now, it'll just maybe be applied later on in a certain situation. So that's why Wild Moguls is important, because we give you information that may or may not fit your criteria, and if you have to use it in the future, recollect on it. This is not something we're trying to be seen. I don't get paid for this. We're not trying to be the biggest network on earth. We just sitting here having a conversation like we would have it any other time.
Yeah, yeah. And try to drop some real perspective, you know?
Ain't no try is to fail. Either you do it or you don't.
We're dropping the perspective.
There it is there.
Yeah, it's called perspective.
Try is to fail, bro. That's BS. That's malarkey. In my white version, it's malarkey.
Oh, wow. I never used that word before.
Yeah, ask your wife about that. And when you said it's a Caucasian wife, that's the white man's favorite word.
Yeah, she's just my wife.
I heard that.
my beautiful wife.
I think every man needs, I think every man need a side girl, even if it's a mannequin. You want to piss your girl off, tell her you got a side broad and then take a mannequin home with the dress, take her in the room, lock the door, play the music, put the candles out, and talk to her. What she gonna do? Your girl might attack the little mannequin, but I think that would be a good prank to put on somebody. Like, I'm tired of her. I'm having me too, bro. I bought my side girl, take her to work with you, drive in the car when your woman don't want to do nothing. Then you got you a side piece. She might be decapitated because, you know, your wife go swing that bat. Heck, you can get you one, you get a replacement for $9 downtown St. Louis.
Me and my wife got such a weird relationship. She just gonna look at me and just like, and just okay. Now we got a side mannequin.
Well, you know, if I was to tell a joke right now, I'd be like, well, shit, you said she's a Caucasian wife, so she'd probably be with that, you know, because the Caucasian girl's something different. You know, you come home, she been and put a battery pack in the back of it, have it clean it up or something, you know, engineered to some whole other level of thinking, so you don't know what's going on.
So,
well, first and foremost, blacks, the question was, is California ready for blacks and Hispanic people and poor whites to carry firearms? Well, according to the Department of Justice and their research, the sheriff in Los Angeles has only issued out 15 permits thus far, whereas Riverside, they hand them out gracefully. But my statement to you is that because of the overwhelming amount of pre-programming that they've done to our law enforcement agents, for them to get used to an open carry state like Arizona or Florida, or to get used to seeing a little black or brown brother with an AR-15 on his back practicing his Second Amendment rights, they're not ready for that. Because the first thing they do is yell, gun, then shots fired. So before you even probably get a chance to pull out your permit, you might be knocked down. Because they're programmed to look for one thing. So America in California is really like a baby communist state. You're not allowed to really do much of anything. You can't put this fence up. You got to dig this. You need a permit for this. Gas, $19 a gallon, you know, metaphorically speaking. So this place is really a dictatorship. I love it. But what could you possibly do here? Whereas in the South, they got their farms, they dig their own water wells, they carry their firearms in other states. What can you do here? And then we paying an astronomical amount of rent money and mortgage. And we're getting taxed. Like every other state got gas $3, $4. Ours is always $6, $7. Yeah. Come on, man. We got 187 billionaires here in Los Angeles. And what do they do for poor people? I can never stop advocating for who I am, which is the poor. I'm going to stay on the right side of history. When I say poor, I'm not talking about financially poor. I'm talking about the 10 percenters that take advantage of the 85 percenters, which is the blind, deaf, and dumb. And that's 5 percenters are the ones left to try to disseminate enough hope and faith for them to try to get to a level of consciousness to where they don't have to stress as much. So a lot of this stuff is manufactured. When you hear about LA, let me tell your audience this before I go. Don't believe everything you hear about California. The money that they get for the homeless and all that, they just take that money and go build up the other communities. That's why you see they only concentrate on Compton, Watts, South Central, because the government send that money down here. And then they take it and build up Calabasas and the Valley and Beverly Hills and build up new buildings. How are you going to be building something for the homeless and this man is mentally incapacitated and financially embarrassed? How are you going to pay the rent? What are you going to do with a house that y'all just built? How is he going to fit the criteria to get in there? Who's going to give him a bath to get in there before he can even fill out an application? Stop playing with us like you taking these people off the streets. No, you're getting ready for the Olympics and you need adequate housing. And you must clean up Pennsylvania Avenue and Crenshaw Boulevard and Stony Ave in order to facilitate getting the Olympics here in America. Wow. Simple and plain. I've lived through several Olympics. I went to jail right before the Olympics, to prison. Almost interrupted some shit. Don't go for that. What crazy person downtown LA that's on meth because of poverty and give up hope and faith in Jesus Christ, and I'm a Muslim, is going to be able to go into a brand new building that they built and live with a stove in there? How's he going to apply for the credit? Where's his ID at? Where's his Social Security? And for the people out there that's leaving Medea at the bus stop, homeless, where's her Social Security check at? Who getting that? Why in other communities you got convalescent homes and all that for elderly people, but in our poor communities, everybody's sleeping at the bus stop, 80 and 70 years old? When did old people start becoming homeless? Why we got an overwhelming amount of mothers that are in the streets? And I've seen a family that I've been seeing for 2 years, kids and everything sleeping in their car for 2 years straight. They asked me for an apartment, but because the family, the mother and the father, is not in touch with their faith, they just outside. It breaks my heart. You know how many families I see sleeping in cars at the supermarkets all the time? I ran up on a family once before. They were sleeping in the car. The baby was hanging out the window because it was hot in the summer. This was on Florence and Crenshaw. The mama was asleep, knocked out. The other kids was in the back, but the baby had his head out the window like this. God forbid, any bus could have came by and knocked him down. I went and woke the mama up. All the windows was down because it was hot. And I tried everything in my power to get him a room, somewhere to stay, something to eat. So being a gang interventionist or a community activist or a person that's concerned about other human beings, there's no categorical professional category that you necessarily can be placed in regards to what you do. You're just a big-ass social worker because you're dealing with the crisis of poor people and poverty and oppression. So you got to fight the power.
Damn. That's a lot.
It's not enough. I wish it was more that we could do. Taking on this responsibility is beautiful. It gives you longevity. Then it keeps you thin in the waist, pretty in the face.
Is there anything else you want to tell the people, man? Any projects or anything?
I ain't got no projects.
Word of endearment?
Nothing. I have nothing for you. Meet me outside. And most of the people that try to befriend me on Instagram and Facebook got 1 follower and 0 likes and 8,000 people they following. So I ain't trying to give out no Malik Spellman at Instagram. It's all bunko. Then now all week they be calling me, asking me, do I want to buy any washers and dryers and sink South Korea. I'm cool. Oh, but one thing I do want to tell you about the 1992 Uprising when it came to the Korean community that I don't want to forget is that swap meet, they didn't lose 1 sneaker, 1 belt, 1 t-shirt. Because them Korean brothers was on the roof with machine guns, look it up, AKs, and they all come out to the South Korean War, and they was the first generation of Koreans. My partner Marty, who's the first generation Koreans right now today, still alive. They wasn't playing no games, bro.
That part.
You can go play over there if you want to.
They was up there with flip-flops on.
No, dude, they was up there eating kimchi, and they didn't care about what the police came in there telling them to get off the roof. They done been influenced by some real drive-by shooters. Remember, them dudes come out the South Korean War.
Yeah.
Them people's not to be played with. See, when I was in that robbery life, you used to have to do your analytics. I'm making up a word now. When it came to robbing people. And not robbing people, but establishments, major establishments. I never robbed an individual in the streets in my life. I snatched a purse once before when the police was undercover in New York. And I took off running with it, and the fool let me run right into his hands and snatched me by my neck and lifted me off the ground and took the purse from me. God bless you, whoever you have, Mr. Police, because my stupid ass should have never been out there trying to snatch purses 9, 10 years old. Then another time we snatched this Caucasian lady's purse, me and my brother. I hated doing it, but we were so hungry and poor. We had eaten hot sauce sandwiches, beans, uncooked. We was poor, man. And I snatched it. She lived across the street from a nice old lady. I don't know what made us snatch it. We seen her going to pay her bill, because back then you go pay your gas and light bill with cash. Wasn't no credit card move. We snatched the purse. And I'll never forget when I stand, God bless her wherever she is, I apologize to her. I took off running, and we went to go open up the purse to split up the loot, whatever was in there, and it was full of gum. But the irony of the situation was it was the same gum that she used to give us walking home from school. But it was the whole entire bag. I said, she tricked our stupid ass. We thought we knew it was slick. That's another in Jamaica, Queens. God bless you, Granny, wherever you are, man. She was sweet, man.
She had a bag full of gum.
Yeah, but we had to separate that bag from it, Granny. We had to have that.
Hey, got a bunch of gum.
It was some good gum, too. We chewed every last piece of it.
He said we chewed every last piece.
Chewed every last piece of that shit.
Oh, man. Well, man, thank you for another guest, another time on Wild Moguls, man. And we're going to see you again. Thank you for these topics and gems.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming through because, like I tell most podcasters like you, your show and shows like yours save more lives than a cure for cancer. We just planting seeds right now. Oh, and to your other viewer, Mr. OG, need a cigarette lighter? Let's see how. Yeah. I told you I ain't gonna never forget your ass. That slick comment you made. You gonna be one viewer that I remember forever. You got one more on there, the little youngster. He lying. I like him. That's all he ever say. He probably don't even watch the show. He lying. And stay tuned because we'll be bringing on Simone's family too to discuss that helicopter attempted escape from the men's central jail.
Oh, yes, sir.
And his brother, so we can debunk that. He lying.
No, I talked on the phone with him so I can confirm it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Malik.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you this right quick. One time during the truce, we was at a church on 79th and Western, and this police used to always come to our meetings. We had one dude used to come to the gang truce meetings from the Department of Justice or Interior or something like that. And he would have on his little suit, a little skinny brother. And I remember Maxine Waters and all them used to be there, and they can attest to this. But the dude had a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist. In every meeting we used to go to during the truce, we used to see this dude, he'd be sitting in the corner like this, like Men in Black. And he wouldn't talk or nothing, and he would never open it, but he had it handcuffed to his wrist. So if anybody out there can tell me what that meant, it was either Department of Justice, Department of Interior or something. When we did the truce, man, they had media come from all over the world with lithium battery cameras from all parts of the diaspora. Name a country, they came.
Wow.
No, for real, man, to see the black man united. They had an earthquake, dude, right after that, man. Name a country, dude, and they came. They was in South Africa. I believe they got a statue of Tony Bogart somewhere in Ireland erected. Name a country. That's why you see them dudes.
Tony Bogart in Ireland?
A statue. Oh, and shout out to Sniper. That's the little dude from the PJs that went over to another neighborhood to do something with the gang situation. And shout out to Bull. I believe he's from. I'm not gonna say where he's from because I don't remember exactly, but Big Bull. I believe he was part of the truce. Q-Bone was part of the truce. Keita Rock, F-Bone was there. Chico from 60s. Black Ass Ghost from 9-0 that a Crip walk at your party from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Nobody in the world can out Crip walk Black Ass Ghost. And on one of the other episodes, I tell you how the Hispanics came down to the community and asked us about the truce, and then came out, went back to the valley and put their situation down with their people. And you'll be able to Google it and get the information. So we influenced a lot of people, bro.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. It went to New York, too.
It went around the world. God
and
bless Jim Brown,
France.
Minister Farrakhan, the Million Man March, Captain Shaheed.
Did you go to the Million Man March?
I was in the top 25 people at the Million Man March. I threw a white dude off the bus at the Million Man March before the movie Get Off the Bus.
You threw him off the bus?
I told him he couldn't ride on this day. I had to pull what's that lady they put off the back of the bus back in the day?
Rosa Parks?
Yeah, I had to pull a Rosa on him in reverse.
Was he by himself or was he with some
And
people?
then as soon as I did that, look how compassionate black people are. I called myself showing off. You can't ride with us, being a bully. The brothers turned on me like, nah, man, don't do that. And they was right. I was out of pocket for that. He was there to support the cause. But I'm going to tell you one of the great, I was in the top 25 people at the Million Man March in the front. I looked up, I was in the front. I turned around, it was 100 brothers. I turned around again, it was 300 brothers. I turned around again, because my stomach's against the stage. Daoud, I believe, spoke at the Million Man March. I turned around again, it was 500 brothers. I turned around again, it was 1,000. I turned around again, it was 1 point something million black men behind us. There was no high on the earth, no drug, no nothing that can ever, that's why they never talk about the Million Man March. That had to be the greatest, that's the first wonder of the world.
No, and they said they did the numbers and they did an overview. They said it was more like 3 million.
3 million, bruh. I seen a brother that was so elated to be amongst his people that he jumped in that little river over there and near the White House in Washington. It was cold too that day, I believe. And he started like walking across the water. And then we got all these millions of black people around him, all men. And we just looking at the brother in the water. He looked like he just like a shark fin going across the water, treading and everything. And I'll never forget, the National Guard was about to send a white dude in there to get him. And then I guess whoever was in charge of the National Guard, like, no, because if you go in there and a tussle break out, it's over. They gonna go nuts. Like you get in there and he get the flare in his arms or whatever they say. So the God bless the dude, that white dude was in charge of the National Guard. He pushed the white dude back, which he was probably gonna go in there just to save the brother. And he sent this brother, I'd never seen a human being this tall and this wide. He had to be like this wide. He had to be every bit of 6'9", had his gun. He was a big youngster, wide, 20-inch arms, and it was the most phenomenal thing I ever seen. The first phenomenal thing I seen. And he went in the water and got the brother. And you could see the treads on his feet. You know, when you walk in the water, you can see the trail behind you. And all these black men watching, millions of us, we watching. And he walking through the thing, and he went and got the brother and lifted him up like this and was bringing him back. And man, the crowd went nuts.
Wow.
It was beautiful, man. He was wet. He was like rolling, man, and he picked him up like this, like a doll, and strolled him back. Boy, we went nuts. Then another time, it was some brother that was in the front, up there with me, because I'm squished to the front. And he was in a wheelchair. He had a medical emergency. And they trying to figure out how to get him, you know, some help. So all of a sudden, somebody came up with an idea. The brothers lift him up like they do at them concerts and windsurfed him all the way to the exit to get him some help. Beautiful. He was in a wheelchair. Could you imagine all them brothers touching that wheelchair, just pushing him back like this?
Damn, like above their head?
You know, they do at concerts and they surf you.
Yeah.
But it was in a wheelchair. They didn't tip him over nothing, and they got him to the other side. Wow. Then the last thing I seen an old black man about 80-some years old, rich. You could tell he was one of them ballers. Black man is out there, born in the 20s or something, or the 30s. I say the 40s. I'm just trying to, get as close as I can. And he jumped out of his Rolls Royce. I'd never seen this. And he had a big, tall Frankenstein white dude with an umbrella over his head walking with him, keeping the sun off him at the Million Man March. It was reverse. Usually you see a black man with an umbrella over a white dude keeping the sun off of him. But it was the reverse. And man, I was like,
oh, yeah.
That was amazing, man. Not for the purpose of racism, but just to see how, as my granny and as Mary Wells was son. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Yeah.
When the hunter get captured by the gang, baby. That's that music that make babies and make your dick hard. Cause see, your wife's supposed to make your dick hard, not your life hard.